Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Crossover. Starring Josh Johnson and Chris McGill. Featuring Christina Thorson. And of course, you, the Instagram live chat. Now, sit back and enjoy this week's edition of The Crossover. Powered by Card Ladder.
Yo. What's up?
I was told that I looked like I'd been held hostage for 2 months last week, so...
Because of your facial hair or something?
Mm-hmm. So I cut my hair.
Well, so did I. We're haircut brothers.
We are. Men of great taste when it comes to choosing when to cut our hair. Tim said that, by the way.
Where do you cut your hair?
I go to the barbershop of Christina.
Smart. Save money.
Yep, well, that's why we originally did it, was because
we're undergrads.
We said, let's invest in an electronic razor. And it'll cost us more at first, because it's like $40.
That was like $70. It was a good one.
But over the long run.
I mean, each of my haircuts cost $40, so you made that money up in two cuts.
Humble brag.
Yeah.
Isn't $40 like kind of cheap? I've heard people say that they're like $100 sometimes.
Dude, anybody charging more than $20 to run a razor over my head?
I go to Sport Clips, fine establishment.
Nice. Now, is the Sport Clip experience kind of legit? Like, they bring out the warm towel and stuff like that?
No, yeah, I mean, like, the shampoo is nice and the haircut's nice. And it's like, they got sports and all the TVs. It's nice.
You taking notes?
No. If you want to go to Sports Clips, feel free.
All right, let's go. So, let me welcome everybody to the crossover on Friday, September 23rd. A big day in baseball history as Albert Pujols, I think, becomes the 4th player to hit 700 home runs. So that's great. I'm flexing the peak of my baseball knowledge.
It's kind of cool, though, that we've got it kind of feels like that 98 season where we've got you guys going for these home run milestones, you know?
Agreed. It's made for some great headlines for baseball.
Yeah, and what came out of that 98 season years later?
Well, hopefully these guys aren't doing steroids.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so first things first, do you have any mail days?
Yes. There have been posted, but I didn't show them last week, so I consider that a mail day.
Yep, let's go.
All right. It's from the Todd Gurley pile. Let's see. Posted this one yesterday, I think. 2018. This is my favorite year of Prism, I've decided. Is it yours?
It is now, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, Luka's rookie year. I saw that question. I'm cheating, but 2018.
Let's go.
2018, my friend. And then the gold vinyl. I'm really digging these gold vinyls, man.
Dude, they're nice. They're really nice.
They look exactly like superfractors.
Yeah. Yes, they do.
Like, I had them side by side. I'm like, well, I know where they got this idea. This one's pretty, like, out there for me, but it's a Topps Chrome RPA superfractor. But it is on card, which you said kind of makes it worthy in your opinion.
Agreed, it does. And it's rare in this day and age to see a card like that have an on-card autograph.
And it was on eBay since I started this. He just had it a little high, and I just finally wore him down on price.
Nice.
This one is the only National Treasures Shield Auto for Gurley out of 2016. This is the second year, and it's a Colossal.
Ooh, amazing.
This was an HGA, and I cracked it the second I got it.
Nice. An NT with a shield and an autograph is pretty special.
No doubt. And then this one's my favorite of the bunch. I just really like the design. 2016 flawless, so this would be his second year as well. Shield auto. This is his only shield auto out of flawless from his second year. The auto kind of stinks because it you can see it kind of goes over the patch, but
dude, that's
pretty neat. I love this one. I way overpaid for that one. This guy clobbered me on the deal.
Nice. Love it. Okay, so just 2 casual shield autographs from
I hit a wall though, dude. I've hit a wall. Like I've tapped all the wells. Now it's just like the waiting game. I'm sure you've hit that before.
Yeah. I've been looking for some cards for 2+ years on some of these player PCs.
All right, what do you got?
I have one mail day, but no, this is not a dupe. I mean, this is I showed this card last week, but in a different holder. So we're doubling up.
You're a hoarder now.
We are hoarding, dude. When these cards are just like God, it's just I can't pass it up. So I actually saw Sky Blue Cards post his entire Optic Gold set from
that's 2018.
2018 Optic Gold, which is really, really impressive, right?
Yeah. So tough to put together those sets.
It's like putting together a PMG Green set. They're both out of 15. It's unbelievable. Let me just give him a quick scroll. Give this guy a follow, Sky Blue Cards. And he literally put together the 200-card Optic Gold base set. And it looks so fucking cool, man.
I love that year, man, because it just has so much Topps Chrome vibes going for it.
Oh.
And they're all PSA, right? It looks like they're all PSA.
All PSA. I think he has one BGS.
So what's more impressive, this or, super collector of Joe Burrow or Tua, or like what, you know what I mean?
Dude, the discipline. All right, I'm gonna give two answers. The discipline that it takes to put together a 200-card set and track down all the different players is more difficult.
And then you play in gold.
Yeah, and all in gold, obviously. And it's like less financially rewarding, probably. And it's just more difficult, and it's stressful. I mean, I'm trying to put together an insert set of like 15 golds, and it's very hard to do. And when people know that you need it, and you have to know the market for like every player. Like, it's tough. But I think but I like really sick super collector PCs of a player. Like that's my preferred way to collect stuff. Like, but I can totally respect and admire what went into building that set. What do you say?
I just love when these accounts pop up. I don't know if he made that account recently or what, but I just love when they come up. It's always fascinated me to see people, like you said, have that much discipline and then share it with us, and then we just sort of get this barrage of amazing content.
Yeah, and so the reason why it came to mind is because after he posted the whole set, he said he had dupes. And so I said, do you have any Jokic dupes? And he says, yes, I do.
Let's go. Now you have dupes.
Yeah. I don't think he really, so he sold a dupe to me so I could have a dupe. But
well, he's probably thinking, I'm making this guy's dreams come true. He doesn't have this card. He's going to be so happy.
I think we can say here we all got duped. Agreed?
Do you see the Avatar stuff? I'm the one that told the meme. I was like, I'm pretty sure that's not Avatar 2. And he's like, are you serious? I'm in the theater eating popcorn. I was like, nope, it's not. You're screwed.
Dude, it doesn't even come out until December, the right one.
Dude, that movie was supposed to come out like 5 years ago and then 4 years ago,
Oh, man, poor LeMay.
I need to rewatch the original before the new one comes out because I don't even remember what it's about. It's like
I'll tell you a very brief synopsis, Josh.
You have to come talk to the camera.
It's Pocahontas with blue people. There you go.
There you go. Yep.
Nailed it.
He was serious, Lauren. He was dead serious. He legit went into a movie theater, thought he was watching the new one.
He was like, well, when I told him, he's like, are you serious? I'm literally in the theater eating popcorn. This is terrible news. I'm like, sorry, bud.
Wow. Oh, my God. Well, it looks like he got a meme out of it because he put out a meme while sitting in the theater. So, okay. Do we have any news or updates on the business front that we'd like to share, or the software front? I don't think so.
No, but we're brewing with something big.
We are brewing. The micro brewery is open. We are brewing. And, here's one announcement. Christina, myself, and Nick will be at the Industry Summit next weekend in Las Vegas. So hope to see some other business folks.
Vegas? Don't you have a stop?
We have a stop. Well, it's not really a stop. It's like it's an overshoot, because we have to go beyond Vegas. But yeah, that's where that destination is where I'll be doing the crossover from next week.
Oh, excellent. So you'll have a mail day.
I'll have a mail day. Yes, I will. That'll be great. Okay. Because I'm thinking about times. Because Pacific time crossover starts at 9, right?
Bingo.
Okay, shit. All right, well, I'll be scrambling a little bit. Okay.
Have you been prepping your acceptance speech? I just. Has he been in front of a mirror, Christina? Like,
What type of anti-influencer would I be if I prepared something? It's the only way to make this authentic is to go up there and wing it.
I think you got to vote. You got to thank people, and you got to flex or something. I'm not sure exactly how it works.
I don't know, man.
I'm pretty sure you're supposed to burn a card. I think I read that somewhere.
Will you get this man some fucking socks?
I have socks.
He has socks on right now.
If he goes up on stage barefoot with sandals, then maybe he deserves this award, I think.
I came into this world barefoot.
That's pretty good.
Let's go. All right. We have questions. We're going to keep it short this week. We are ending sharp at 2 Eastern. So let's go.
So early
For the people. All right. Oh, my God. All right.
Do I want to know?
Christina, how do you put on your socks and shoes?
I put on my left sock, my left shoe, and then my right sock and my right shoe.
I thought this was going to be like Will Ferrell. He's like, I put my pants on. Or was that Christopher Walken? He's like, I put my pants on one leg at a time.
I put my shoes and socks on one leg at a time.
That is something. I've never heard of that.
You're already working on one foot. Why not just continue?
Yeah. Well, Christina's been exposed. All right.
This is why. Do you know how this started? It was literally my story.
Mm-hmm.
That started this. And now everyone, and I got through, no one asked me how I did it. And, I felt really attacked with all the messages I got that was you guys, you have to be a psycho if you do sock shoe. So, I silently was just okay, I'm going to not tell anyone, and then now everyone knows things.
All right.
Well, see, Nick pointed something out, because my thought was my socks are in my bedroom, my shoes are downstairs. So I have to put on my socks. But Nick says she takes her socks to her shoes.
I do. I take my socks to my shoes.
It doesn't matter where or when she tells this story, some percentage of the people who hear it conclude she is a serial killer. The chat has picked up on this quickly.
Patriot Sports Card says, once my pants are on, I make gold refractors. He says gold records, remember? Have you seen that?
Yeah, I've seen that. That's great. All right, great.
Mortal Battle.
God, the chat is stealing the show already. Just way too many comments going too quickly. Let me get to a question here. We have a lot of questions. Cardi C Sports Cards will lead us off. He says, I struggle. We all struggle. We all struggle. That's it. I struggle. Look, we all struggle, Chris. He says, I struggle succinctly explaining why I love the hobby. Put on your marketing hat, pretend you're talking to a brand new collector, and give them your best 30-second elevator speech for the hobby.
Oh, man. Oh, man, have I got an opportunity for you.
Sell me this pen, Josh.
Yeah, sell me this pen. Sign me an autograph.
Can I just say one thing, though, before we do this? Let me just say this. I don't like selling the hobby to people.
Yeah, I know.
Like, I opt out. I don't even think it works. You know, I don't. But, okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I do it the same way every time. I always ask, who's your favorite player? And then that usually kind of sparks some sense of interest. Like, then I can explain to them, like, their rookie class, their rookie year, like, what sort of card options they might have. And then from there, like you said, I really don't like to go much further. Like, maybe say, like, hey, you know, here's a couple of eBay listings that might look kind of neat. That's kind of lame, right? That's not really like an elevator pitch.
No, you don't want to know what? That's brilliant. It's turning it into, tell me something about you. And that's such a great way to have a conversation with someone. I think it's brilliant.
If there's something I know about other people, it's this. They love talking about themselves.
Now let me tell you what I know. No.
Right. That was great. Well, here's my answer.
That's great, man. My pitch is something along the lines of, like, hobby is really fun. You can divide my life into two eras, pre-hobby and post-hobby. Post-hobby one's better. But then I'm going to say, but we don't really need you. So.
Well, there was another question that came in this week about something along these lines, and you were like totally befuddled. You were like, I don't understand what you're saying. This is like this reminded me of it because you were just like, the hobby to you is kind of like your own thing, right? Like you had to make it for yourself, and you don't understand why someone wouldn't like it, kind of thing.
Let's go to that question. All right, this is from Ben X Crunner 1, who's quickly rising the ranks as one of the great question askers. He says, do you three ever look at your cards and think, man, I could have spent all this money on something that would actually benefit my life more than the temporary high that you get on a mail day? He goes, you drew the graph yourself. Look, he's using my own words against me. You drew the graph yourself a week or two ago. After getting the card, the thrill wears off almost immediately. Number one, and then I asked him what he meant. He goes, number one on my radar is getting a better mattress, but the temptation of cards is strong. And Ben, the way prices have been going for some of these cards lately, you do want a good mattress for the way guys have been getting bent over.
You want to see my bed tonight?
You're on the floor?
No, we just have this mat before we eat dinner.
Okay, I was like, dang, Josh is in for a sleep on the air mattress. All right. Well,
I need to invest in a mattress. Well, your answer, read your answer. That's why I wanted to hear that.
Oh, I said something along the lines of I don't even what do you mean? The hobby is the way that I have fun. You know, what do you cards are more than a temporary high, right? You get to be part of a community. It's fun. Sports fandom. We've gone over this. We've covered this territory.
Well, the more interesting piece is what would I buy instead? You know, that's kind of what he's getting at, and that's where you just your brain was what? Buy things? I don't care. You know, we don't really have that much that keeps us engaged. You know, we both could have been well, we could have bought a house or some sort of car or something like that.
Sure.
We already have a place to live, and we already have cars. You know, those are just sort of things that are already checked. So I don't know. I couldn't really think of anything either. Something clever like a boat or something. I hate boats, by the way. I don't like that. No, there's nothing.
Fair. Yeah, right. But the gist of this question is can you get carried away buying cards?
Have we crossed the line?
Yeah. And we absolutely have.
Well, that's why it's could we have bought a house instead? Maybe.
Right.
But like now we have more room, a bigger space. Like I don't understand the difference.
Yeah. Hey, look, cards doesn't have to be everybody's number one hobby, Like, maybe you just like cards a little bit. You just have a few of them. And you like to spend stuff on other things. You like to go to concerts or take trips or own a Rolex or invest in brown cardboard boxes or pieces of men's used clothing or things like that. I mean, different people like to spend their money on different things. So.
The experiences answer, I think Ben gave that answer, right? Paying for experiences. Yep. That's probably the best answer. An example of that is like people in the hobby are spending, we've pointed this out, $2,000 to $5,000 to travel to some of these shows and hotels and airfare. So like we're willing to pay for the experiences also that lead us to more joy. And, traveling would be something on my list for sure. Some paying for different things like that. But that stuff is not super expensive really, right? I mean, if you're talking about like a house or some of these, I mean, did you see my recap of PWCC? You could pay for like 10 years of travel for some of these cards.
Yeah, you definitely could. Definitely could. Boat, you could name the boat the Exquisite.
Oh, dude. Boats are the most laborious task of all time. Like, you got to spend so much time to get that boat out there. And are you guys boat people? And I'm like offending anyone here?
Nope, not boat people. I do love the water, but don't really care about boats.
You just like to jump off the boat and get in the water?
I don't like to go in the water at all. I just like what it looks like. I like the view of the water.
You don't like to go in the water?
No. The water is gross.
You should take a look at it. So then you could have bought waterfront property.
Yes. Waterfront property is my second most favorite market to look at after cards.
Yeah, whatever happened to that? You guys are like so close.
Oh, I mean, we just took a few visits and, it was nice, but I think, look, this is not a real estate market show, but I think you look at the real estate market, it could be. And you could say, maybe it's not the right time to buy houses.
No, you should wait a couple months. The interest rates are going up. Yeah. Not a good time.
Right. We'll just see, because, like, dude, houses come with a lot, man. You have property taxes. If you get, like, a condo or a townhouse, you have homeowners association fees. I mean, you're signing yourself up for a lifetime of 10 figures worth of expenses every year once you decide to own a piece of property.
So you're a renter for life? #renter?
I don't know. I don't know, man. We'll see.
Don't you feel like we're all renting time on this planet?
Damn, we're getting deep early into this show. We are getting really deep early into this show. Okay, so out of respect to the great Cage the Lawyer, he asked a question in the chat that's very topical. I'm going to read it. Hypothetical for you guys in the chat. Oh, it's not even for us, but okay, we'll still read it anyway. The guy who caught the Pujols 700th ball is in Dodgers security right now, waiting for Pujols because he wants to meet him. How much money or things do you need for the ball?
Dude, how awesome would it be if Pujols shows up and he's like, yeah, it's going to be like $100,000, bud. He doesn't want to meet him for like the joy of meeting him. He wants to meet him for the negotiation part of the day.
Yeah.
How much? What was the question? How much money in order to what?
What do you need? What do you need for the ball?
The ball? I don't know. $100,000 sounds about right.
So you'd take $100,000 for the ball. I don't know, man. I'd be like scrambling to look up completed listings on balls.
It's probably worth a lot more than $100,000. I have no idea. I mean, what's it worth to Pujols? That's what I'd say. What's it worth to you, bud?
Yeah, that's so awkward, man. Oh God,
Didn't he make like $200 million or some crap?
Maybe over like a long career deal. You want to know who makes a lot of money? Fucking hedge fund managers. The top 10 hedge fund managers make like $1 billion a year.
Is that who caught the ball?
Probably. And he's going to negotiate. I
hope it's like a teacher or like a policeman or something that caught it.
Yeah, I like your approach. I like your approach a lot. Just put the ball in his court, metaphorically and literally speaking.
Dude, people do not like when you and I call other people bud.
Bud? I love Bud.
I know, but
Not.
What do you mean, Bud?
When I called you Bud the other day, you got very upset.
people don't like. You said it some other time, and people were like, "Whoa, you can't call people bud." And I just said it. Now they're jumping on me.
These guys in the chat need to chill out, Bud. What do you like better, pal? You know, what are we doing?
I'm not sure. Hello, Mr. Albert. Like, I don't know what you want me to call him.
Dude, look, Bud, it's all about the inflection you put on Bud. That's what it's all about. It depends upon how you use it.
True.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna do. I don't know what we're gonna do about that.
What do you think of Cage's story where he was like, "Sell your judge now"?
Well, Mike Gio very quickly took the other side.
Did he?
Yeah.
Well, let me hear the other side.
Well, so first of all, they're going to use a little-known hobby application called Card Ladder to track 4 cards and see if they are up or down a month from now. Gio says judge cards are going up. There's still room for growth. I don't know the whole bull thesis there, but Gio says they're going up. Cage says sell now. They're not going up.
I had to, when I saw that, I was like, here, Cage, here's some ammo for you. It's up like 126% in the last 3 months. So, or maybe it was a year. Maybe it was a year.
Dude, his cards are going nutty, but his cards
It's
are
kind of
crazy.
It's fun to find a graph that's going up right now. So I was like, whoa, look at this. Green numbers.
Yeah. Judge and Pujols are just on fire right now.
Well, I tend to take Cage's side on that one.
So, let those judges fly.
Yeah, I mean, what if the season ends and then the Yankees get bounced and, people lose steam on that?
Yep. Very well could happen.
Go look at Steph Curry prices a month after the finals.
True. Okay. We're reaching the outer limit of our baseball talk.
Yeah.
On Clubhouse, I've implemented a rule. No baseball talk unless there's been 30 seconds of dead air.
Where you just boot people?
Yeah, just if there's literally nothing else to talk about and no one can think of anything for 30 seconds, then we can talk baseball.
Someone DM me on my story barrage, and they were like, "Where's the baseball ones?" I'm like, "You don't want that. Like, I'll just like fall over myself. It's gonna be embarrassing. We don't want that."
Fair. Okay, Cage is admiring your ability to pivot from baseball to Curry.
Hey, at least I didn't convert it to LeBron or something.
Okay, all right. Cards and Cardio says, how many seasons will it take for people to get burned by prospecting and then leave the hobby?
That's a good question. It's probably like 4 seasons, 3 or 4.
3 or 4?
What do you think?
Yeah. Well, for some of these QBs, I think it's much shorter.
Really? Tell me more.
Josh Rosen is an example. There's lots of other names that I could. I can't think of the names.
Let's assume it's like a good player. Let's assume it's like a good player.
A good player who's like
like even Trae Young. It was like his stuff went up, and then if you would have bought when everyone's telling you to buy Trae Young, that's an example of a good player. After year 4, his stuff kind of started to go down. Morant, it's kind of all this. It's like seems like year 4.
Year 4 is kind of the turning point when you have to go up to another level, hobby wise, sports wise, or else your momentum's gonna go in the other direction.
But you were thinking more like Rosen. Tell me, what do you think? What do you think? Like guys that just completely flame out early. That's what you're thinking?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of quarterbacks who have legitimate hype because they were outstanding college athletes, and for one reason or another, maybe it's their fault, maybe it's the fault of the system, maybe both, they don't really catch on in the NFL. And look, how many chances does an NFL quarterback get before the next crop of rookies are coming in and you're out, you're done?
Yep, Daniel Jones comes to mind.
Yeah, Jones. A lot of those guys are, I guess, in year 4, year 5, though, to your point, Trubisky, I think, is in year 6 right now, and he's on the chopping block. He can't figure out how to put up more than 20 points with all those weapons, but maybe that's play calling.
Offensive line is bad.
Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, a lot of these guys.
I feel like Darnold made it through year 3 before it was like, all right.
Yeah.
Because with quarterback, dude, Trey Lance is going to make it into year 3 because people are just, he's injured, so we don't know. So, he's just going to keep extending his life.
Yes, and the San Francisco 49ers apparently don't understand the concept of sunk cost. So they feel like they have to keep recouping on something even if there's a better option available. But, yeah, Lance still, to be determined for sure. So, but what about the part about leaving the hobby? So, it's one thing to say a given player or prospect has a window and then they become irrelevant. But what about the part about prospecting not working out and then leaving? Does that happen from one prospect? Does it take multiple prospects?
I don't know, man. That's going to be anecdotal, right? Which is going to be what we've gotten from people. But I know of a few people that DM me during that whole comparison thing where they were burned, and I wouldn't say necessarily left 100%, but definitely pulled it back a lot and changed the way that they approach the hobby. I'm not sure. It's probably not many, man. If you're buying at those levels, it's tough to justify taking a second crack at prospecting. Yeah.
Yep. I think that's about right. Okay. Do you want to say anything more about this?
We're just sort of guessing, right? We're speculating because we just we're not necessarily in this realm as much.
Well, one of the other takes I got on this question when I was workshopping it with some people on Clubhouse was that maybe people who are inherently attracted to prospecting are people who like to gamble and speculate, and they're used to taking losses, and so they're going to keep going. There is no point when they get burned because they have an understanding that how the risk reward relationship plays out. Very high risk, but also very high reward. I believe that was Julian who made that point.
So maybe it was more, this point of people getting burned was more in relation to people jumping into the hobby because they thought when the hobby started booming in early 2021, I'll just jump in and kind of get rich. There's probably more people feeling quote unquote burned from that than the specific prospecting, because the prospecting, to your point, they kind of already know what they're getting into.
Yeah.
Whereas the hobby as a whole is I can just jump in and buy anything and kind of get rich, and that wasn't the case. That one's maybe a little bit more jarring for people.
Yeah, and if you're taking a more calculated approach to prospecting, you're gonna spread your risk out across a number of prospects. Same approach that a venture capitalist takes when investing in a bunch of startups. You're going to spread yourself pretty thin and hope that one of them is going to generate those 10x returns that more than makes up for all the other losses. So, okay. It also depends upon the prospector. What's the end goal? Because some people treat prospecting, as short-term moves, and they will collect the cards of a prospect just for a few months. And this is one of the insights of this new book I've been reading, is that people have different time horizons. So you might have somebody prospecting, and it might be reasonable for them to overpay for a prospect because they're making the bet that somebody else is going to overpay even more in 2 or 3 months. Whereas those of us who are more long-term focused, that's completely outrageous to us because that's more outrageous to us because we're thinking long-term, and long-term we can see clearly that all the short-term buyers, these prospects, are driving them into bubble territory.
Yeah. When I continuously post about prospects being too expensive, because that's apparently my new lane, the thing that people point out is a lot of people are making money sort of on this climb up to that point. But then doesn't that mean that there's one person that gets, absolutely clobbered? There's always, when something gets up that high, someone's getting burned. We can say it wasn't me, it was some other random person that deserved it or whatever, but I don't know. It just always feels to me like someone's getting real burned.
Well, to your point, Yeah, there's opportunity for the people pushing the bubble larger and larger and higher. But is it good for the rest of us that when these cautionary tales get created? Is it good for the rest of us to have extremely overvalued cards in the hobby that eventually the bubble bursts on them? Does it represent our hobby well? Does it represent our market well? Or does it create cautionary tales? And does it kind of question the integrity of what we're doing? I think that's a real concern.
Well, I'll jump again to another question you got because I'm on a roll with that. But someone asked kind of more specifically why Todd Gurley, or I think it was Drake.
Yep.
And we're kind of getting to it. It's like I was trying to find something that was hype proof. I was trying to find something where I don't have to.
Does
I don't
that
have to
exist
deal
in the hobby right now, Josh? A hype-proof player?
I mean, no, not 100%, but you can shield yourself pretty decently depending on the player you select.
Yeah.
It's just really, really hard. You got to really find someone that's buried or someone that's not relevant for years and stuff like that. It's tough.
Okay. So that was Drake's question. What drove you to start collecting Todd Gurley? But the other part of his question was, why didn't you start a year or two ago?
Yeah, so he might be getting at a good point of why didn't I do that when the market was more, hot and heavy and everyone's excited and stuff? And that's a good question, I guess. I mean, now that sort of the economy's turning a little bit and, money's a little bit harder to come by, I do as an individual feel more I don't want to take as much risk. And so this is a good way for me to stay engaged in the hobby but not feel like I'm spending a lot of money. So yeah, I'm not going to lie. It's a lot of it's just that I don't feel like spending a bunch of money right now knowing kind of what's happening with inflation and the recession and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, this is a good time to say something nice about for me personally, the cards that I like to have sitting out are cards that are worth a couple $100 or so. I feel comfortable. Sorry about that, man. My app glitched out.
You were in the middle of something. You were talking about $100 cards around you.
Yeah, I like those better. I like the display and have those more. When the cards get more valuable, they start to feel more like things that should be put away.
I mean, the question is still relevant to point out that we were more regularly buying expensive cards a year ago than we were today.
Yeah. That's not true for me, so I can't comment too much on that.
Fair enough.
Okay. Ryan Bitter sort of had a follow-up. He said, has Josh's Todd Gurley collection turned him into a Black Prism 1-of-1 set?
This question was asked last week, wasn't it? Similar? I think I gave the answer I would have always preferred to have 1-of-1. It just never made sense financially to go after LeBron 1-of-1s for me.
Fair enough. I think a guy named Bob has a monopoly on that lane.
How many Jordan 1-of-1s do you have?
0.
But now all of a sudden you're a 1-of-1 guy.
I am. Dude, Jordan 1-of-1s, dude, he has maybe 7 parallel 1-of-1s from his playing years, and Nat has 4 or 5 of them.
Right. So it's a lot of it's just, I didn't have much of a choice. I guess I could go for 1-of-1 Chris Paul stuff. But even that's, not cheap. Not to me, it's not very cheap. So now that I have the ability to get 1-of-1s, I'm all for it. I have a 1-of-1 Todd Gurley save search. Let's go.
Right on. Shout out to Chris Carter, 1-of-1 of we. For those who know what I'm talking about. All right.
1-of-1 of us.
Yes. Okay, so we were talking a little bit about the market. And this goes nicely with David Marino's question, of the great David Marino of Collectible. He says, what does the inverted yield curve, and we'll talk about what that means in a second. What does the inverted yield curve mean for the sports card market for the next 12 to 18 months? And so I had to refresh myself on the inverted yield curve. I once knew what it meant.
I mean, I obviously know what it is, but go ahead and tell the audience because they don't know.
Look, Josh clearly could give a thesis on this, but I'll just do it because I'm already talking.
Go ahead.
The inverted yield curve is when the yield on short-term bonds is higher than long-term ones. So, like, you could get a 2-year bond that pays 4%, but the 10-year pays 3.5%. And so, like, if you were to graphically represent that, you know, why is it called the inverted yield curve? It's because it looks like this. You have higher yields on shorter maturing debt instruments. So you get a really high yield if you have the bond for a short amount of time, and you get a lower yield if you have the bond for a long amount of time. And so why does that matter? Okay, and the reason why it matters is because historically inverted yield curves have been an indicator of a looming recession.
So this is sort of talking about buying cards for the short term, knowing you're going to get out of them quickly?
Maybe. Basically, this was a very fancy way of asking, what do you think a recession means for the sports card market over the next 12 to 18 months?
I mean, I think it means prices are going to keep going down.
Yeah.
I mean, we've already seen the market. I posted the screenshot of all the indexes over the last 3 months, and everything's down like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6%. Every category, every cross category, it doesn't matter what it is. It's just down. And it's going to keep going down.
Yeah, there you go, David.
I mean, why would more people jump into the hobby if there's less money going around over the next 12 to 18 months?
Why would more people jump in if there's less money? What's your answer to that question?
They wouldn't. That's what I'm asking. Like, what scenario would that be possible?
Well, I think there's two different topics there. There's the question of momentum, and then there's the question of entry point prices. I think a lot of people, us included, have been hoping for lower entry point prices for a long time. That increases the accessibility of the hobby. But
True.
If prices are on a downward momentum that has people actively avoiding buying cards that they otherwise would like to collect because they're worried about the downward momentum, well, new people can come in, perceive negative momentum, perceive pessimism, and just say, this isn't really an area or a market that's given me the energy and given me the optimism that anybody would like to see if they're going to participate in a market. No, few people would like to buy into a market under the presumption that it's going to lose value.
So do you think that once we potentially start to find a quote-unquote bottom, people are going to be really, really excited to get back into this?
Well, how are they going to hear about it? You know? How are they going to find out about it?
Well, I asked that question because I was kind of thinking, you know, I've talked about this a bunch on this show where we've seen the market kind of take a hit. We've seen things go down, you know, much like everything else. But we've seen the community and the activity almost feeling like it's going up. Like more people at shows, content continues to come out. The people who came in through the content world continue to stick around and continue to have fun with it. We've pointed out several accounts that do that. And so I feel like that group of people, us included, if we see signs of a bottom and like, especially on stuff that we would have been waiting to buy or we would love to own, that's when we're going to pounce of like, okay, this is where we feel, you know, the excitement of this kind of ramp up of like, this is the bottom. I can jump in at the entry point. The momentum has stopped, you know, kind of hitting on your two things.
Sure. Very difficult, though, to know when the bottom is. So this is like, back to the book I've been reading for a second. The guy's approach is he is a passive investor, and his interest is totally long-term. He's primarily invested in Vanguard total stock market indexes, and he's primarily interested in the long haul. The bet that he's making is that over 30 years, as has historically been the case, the stock market's going to increase, and as he continues to invest more into it, it's going to compound. And so that's the same question here that I would bring to bear on this topic is somebody coming back into the hobby. What's the time horizon? Are they looking to buy cards and then sell them and be done in 6 months and 12 months and 2 years? Or are they looking to own cards for 10 years, for 20 years? Because if you are looking on a more long-term time horizon, then you don't really care if in the short term there's market volatility, if in the short term the price of your favorite cards that you own goes down. But if you're focused on a short-term time horizon, or if you're really valuing the opportunity cost of what you buy right now versus what maybe you could buy something else that would go down less in the short term, well, then you're going to be very preoccupied with that. So it's a question of time horizons, in my opinion.
Do you feel like you're learning a lot from this book as it relates to the hobby?
Yes and no. I feel like I've learned a lot about this particular guy's philosophy. That's what I feel.
And
it's super interesting. His bias is that he is writing to give confidence to people who approach stock market investing from the passive long-term point of view. He's giving you mental models and ways of thinking about markets that give you the highest likelihood of staying the course, riding out highs and lows that can happen on a day-to-day, month-to-month, or year-to-year basis, and then getting to their destination, their ultimate 30-year, retirement destination. Like, one of the heroes in this book that he, walks back in his post-book interviews, but that, he really plays up in the book itself, is a guy who was a janitor, who worked as a janitor for his entire life, consistently invested into index funds, and when he died, he had $7 million. And so, this is a recurring character theme in this book is this guy knows nothing special about stock market investing. He, in any other industry, the author points out, in brain surgery, you could never be in the top 10% of brain surgeons without knowing anything about brain surgery. But in financial markets, if you apply consistency, if your timing is pretty fortunate, and if you're just in it for the long haul, you could end up in the top 10% of investors just by staying the course, not fretting, playing the long-term game, letting things compound. So he's really preaching that message. That's the thesis of his book, is, among others, is long-term passive investing is good. And he makes the argument for why. So, yeah. Okay.
I'm just glad to know that you're literate.
Yeah, this is the first book I've read in some time, honestly. Stiff says Hoj needs a book to tell him to hodl.
Come on, book. Give me some advice here on my cards. What do?
Let's go. But you know what's great about finance? Finance is a vessel for all sorts of philosophical opinions. So, ostensibly we're talking about stocks and markets, but really people are bringing to bear all sorts of opinions on history, on politics, on economics, but it all gets filtered through the vessel of markets. The book is called The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel, and it was I don't know if you recommended that to me, Lefko. You may have. And this is also a conclusion I had too, which Ankesh points out. Finance sucks. Get that crap out of cards. I agree. That's one of my big takeaways from this book as well, is that if you're bringing the lens of finance to the sports card market, you're missing at least half the picture. At least half. So, but yeah, it's been really interesting. A good quick read. It's taking me 2 weeks to read it because I go one chapter at a time, but you could knock this book out in an afternoon if you sat down and just wanted to read it.
Now we all get your flip phone pictures as stories and then flip the pages that you post.
Yes, we do. All right. Heat Collector said, is Tua, turn the ball over, a good investment right now?
Dude, the worst investment possible right now. I posted it today. I can't believe it. I posted my recap. His stuff is so expensive.
Super.
Like, he has a Stars and Stripes, whatever the hell that means, card. National Treasures sell for $44,000, and Aaron Rodgers had a BGS 9.5 True RPA 99 sell for $34,000. Make it make sense. Dude,
Well,
they're going to get clobbered this week by the Bills.
Morgan Housel would say time horizons.
Zoom out, bro.
This Tua sold. This is his NT Shield 1 of 1. His biggest of the big boy card sold for $50,000 in June.
This is the real one?
Yeah.
Why isn't it vertical?
I don't know. The Mahomes isn't either.
I guess.
Sometimes they
This
just
is the real.
Yeah, sometimes they just weren't. They just look different. Yeah, but I'm reading the label just to make sure. And yeah, this is the. Oh, I'm sorry, dude. I'm totally wrong. This is the insert. This is the Rookie Treasures insert, card number 2. That's not the real big boy. My bad.
Every time I bring up this, where I make my stake in the ground, you quickly are pointing out that this stuff's still going up right now.
What, like Tua and stuff?
Well, maybe, yeah. I mean, not necessarily specifically him, but like Herbert, Tua, Burrow, everybody.
I don't think Herbert's still going up right now. I think Herbert is turning around. I think I don't know. Well, look, in order to answer these questions, you have to have a thesis about not just the player and not just the market for that player, but the overall market too. You have to have opinions on both, because overall market growth can wipe away a lot of mistakes made picking individual players. Like 2020 and 2021 prove that. You could pick any freaking card for the most part of any player and have seen price appreciation when the market is rapidly expanding. By the same token, you could pick let's say Geno Smith goes on to have an MVP season and win a Super Bowl, and you predicted that before the season, and you bought all of his cards, and you could still end up making a bad investment if interest in the football market wanes, or if there's a global recession that causes all markets to go down. You could still be wrong in terms of your investment. So it's a really tough question, but I think the way that what you're saying, Josh, here is that this is going to be a high water mark for Tua. My point
that I've been making for a month now, maybe more, is that you just said it with the Geno thing. It doesn't even matter if you're right. If you are right and you nail it and he becomes the next big thing, you're still going to be wrong in the long run. But that's what you brought up, though. It's not about that. We know they're going to go down in the long run. It's about when do your horizon, when do you plan on exiting and stuff. So I get it. Like, literally, his Tua cards are more expensive than Drew Brees. That's his freaking ceiling. So, like, he literally will go down no matter what.
Yeah. Yep.
Unless you're just buying into this concept of the modern cards, have more long-term value than some of these older rookie classes. Like, the cards are they're better looking, they're more desirable, there's more one-to-ones. I get all that. So there's that as well.
Yep. Good. I agree with that. There's multiple sides to it. But I agree with you on Tua, man. I don't think it gets much better than a 6-touchdown, huge second-half comeback performance. So as a person who's possibly interested in collecting Tua, just like understand that euphoria probably won't be replicated anytime soon. The odds are that it won't. So, but hey, look, Tua has a great record. They put up during one of the games Tua's record versus Tua's record, Herbert's record versus Burrow's record.
Yeah.
And Tua was the only one with a winning record among them.
And Lamar Jackson has a better career record than Josh Allen.
Yes. Although that one's close. That one.
It is, but like people see Allen as like, he's the one who's separated himself from the sort of prospecting world because he's winning and his record is really strong and catching up to Mahomes in a lot of senses, and then Lamar is seemingly going the other way. He's risky, et cetera. He's not even top 10 anymore. He still has a better record.
And can I just point out, he has an MVP.
He's a fucking MVP.
He has a freaking MVP. Damn.
But everyone only thinks about the current moment, right? They think like the Bills are on the way up, the Ravens are kind of flat, and that's where we're at. That's today.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, like, that team that everybody's excited that Tua beat, that team is helmed by Lamar Jackson, and he had them up 35-14. Lamar is the first player in NFL history to throw a pass for over 75 yards and have his own run play for over 75 yards in the same game for a touchdown, both of them.
Yeah. You know how I know? Because I have Lamar Jackson on my fantasy team, and he scored the most points of any quarterback, more than Tua. He outscored Tua in fantasy.
That was a nice pick, man. I told you, I think, after the draft, I was like, that Lamar pick is fucking solid at QB.
Tua had 2 picks. Lamar had 0, and Lamar had an 80-yard touchdown run. So he had a better game.
Dude, he was a beast, man. He looks as good as ever. And, dude, the way that the narrative shifted, like our buddy David Owens, like, posted his Lamar early when they were up huge in that game. But the way the narrative of that game shifted, like at halftime, all of Twitter is like, man, Lamar bet on himself and he's going to win because he didn't sign a contract. And then by the end of the game, it's like, is Tua the best quarterback in the 2020 draft? And it's just like, oh my God, hold up.
Fucking crazy. It's like one half of football and all of a sudden you're like goated or, a bust.
All right. Andrew Kesey says, let's discuss Kyle Pitts and Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Well, I have Kyle Pitts on my fantasy team, so it's a different conversation.
What, 4 receptions this year or 2 or something?
He has 2 games. In both games, he has 2 catches for 19 yards.
We all got duped, agreed.
And what was the other one? Amon-Ra St. Brown?
Yeah, no, that's a different scenario. He's had a pretty nice season so far.
Pretty nice. I think he's like number 1 fantasy receiver, right? Or number 2. He's having a great season.
Really? Well, I'm seeing that he has 180 yards right now in the season. 7, 8, 9, which puts him 12th among.
He's number 12 receiver?
He's 12th most receiving yards. That's what.
But he has fantasy. We're talking about fantasy.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, let me pull up his fantasy score.
I think he has 2 touchdowns.
And he has 68 rushing yards too.
Yeah, he's just having a monster season so far. I mean, I think the fantasy weekly rankings have him like in that elite group of receivers at this point. That's kind of where it's at with him.
All right, so here's the current fantasy rankings in a PPR league. Stephon Diggs first, Cooper Kupp second, Tyreek Hill third, and Amon-Ra St. Brown fourth.
There you go. And all of those guys are sort of like speedsters, smaller guys.
True. And then you round it out with Jalen Waddle, same thing. Amari Cooper, Justin Jefferson, Christian Kirk.
And Cooper's got 3 games though.
True, he does. Accurate.
And Cooper has had a really nice game last night.
Good. He did.
I mean, it's nice to see that the top, projected fantasy guys are all producing so far.
Well, for wide receivers, they are. Running backs, different.
It's always like that for running backs. Every year, man. Running backs are always
overrated.
Yeah, that's why you take the receivers in the first round. Didn't you know?
Dude, I was so high on receivers in fantasy. I was just loading on receivers.
You have Waddle.
I do have Waddle. Okay. But you know who's killing me is Darnell Mooney.
Oh, brutal. Does he have 1 yard?
Dude, 1 catch for 19 yards. Not good.
Cool.
Yep. Okay. Also, Andrew Kesey needs help finding the 2019 Optic Black 1 of 1 and Black Disco 1 of 1 of Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. So if anybody out there. All right, let's move over to basketball for one question. I only got one question on this. Nobody gives a shit about lists. Rock Boys Card says, let's talk basketball. It's noteworthy that 4 of the top 5 players in ESPN's rankings are not American. All 4 hold European citizenship. If a Ryder Cup-style tournament broke out today, Does America win? Props to Europe or sad times for American ball? Okay, I'll hang up and listen.
Who won that tournament, by the way?
Fucking Spain won that tournament.
Ugh.
And you know, Bo Cruz, I hate when Spain and France win. Bo Cruz was like shining out there, dude. He was balling. His brother was balling. One of those two won MVP. I think it was his brother. But Spain won, man. It was so boring. Luka, Markkanen, Jokic, Giannis all went out in the first or the second round.
Oof.
It was very bad. That reminds me, I need to cancel my ESPN Plus.
Well, if you got that Hulu Disney Plus package, you might have to keep it.
Roll myself in.
Ryder Cup, would Europe win? I mean, wouldn't they win right now?
I still think it's really tough if America trots out a team that has LeBron, Curry, Durant.
None of those guys would play, though. That's the whole point.
But if they did.
Well, he's talking about, it's hypothetical. But, I mean, also, aren't we kind of also saying it's America versus every other country combined? Isn't that still pretty heavily favored for American players?
Yeah.
I don't know. Top 5 NBA players.
Did you look at the questions?
They're all from different countries, though. All 4 of the other guys are from different countries. It's not like it's like America versus, fucking Spain. They're all, different.
True. And, you could expand North America, bring in some Canadians like Wiggins.
There you go.
I wonder how the population of North America stacks up again, or the Americas. You can put the Americas against Europe.
Yeah.
Then you have
the problem is you just can't incentivize these guys to do any of these types of games.
Yeah.
If they did a USA versus World All-Star game like they do for the younger players, it doesn't matter. We're not going to get the real effort.
Yeah, nobody wants to play in that.
Did we get 100% effort from those guys in this Eurobasket thing?
Yes. Yeah, all those guys who were playing, they were playing for pride and for country. So I think you definitely got.
You don't get that in America.
You got efforts from all those guys, and Giannis's brother was crying after they lost and were eliminated. I mean, these guys care. They definitely care about losing and winning those games.
Yeah, Luka said that he let down his team and his country and then himself.
Mm-hmm. But I think they let us all down. He forgot to include me and the people who were let down. Because that tournament was really boring.
I think you count as part of his team, no?
Yeah.
The tournament was boring because you wanted to watch NBA players?
I wanted to watch the stars, the best players.
What a simp.
Yeah, and I get why the NBA is so defensive about that. To me, it's pretty clear that they were blocking this tournament from getting any type of exposure over here. But they're a big instrument in making these players superstars.
Yep.
So I get why they're defensive about it. And then I do find it amusing that as the Eurobasket is going on, they announce their in-season tournaments coming next year.
Not a fan of those at all.
Neither is Mark Cuban until he gets personal phone calls and then he backtracks and says he is now.
Why are you getting feisty all of a sudden?
I don't know.
Are we going to talk about the Suns and then Udoka?
Have we talked about it?
All right, did we get any questions? Are we going to talk about those? Those are pretty big stories.
Yeah, we'll go to that next. You want to say anything about the list? About ESPN's top 100 list?
No, it seemed fine to me.
Yeah, I thought it was a solid list as well.
I didn't really have too much to complain about.
Okay. Then there is a question about the Suns. And someone, I think, was poking some fun about it. It was basically...
Yeah, Luka owns the team. I saw it.
Yeah, that was the question. Yes, and who do you want to...
Well, it's I don't even know, man. You asked me earlier, and I don't really know... I can scout players and I can tell you what free agents I would go after, but I don't know. This is a different thing. But I did listen to the Bill Simmons pod. Did you?
Thursdays, I've listened to pieces of it.
So he talked about the Suns ownership, and I'm just going to basically pull everything from what he said because he seems to know a lot more about it than I do.
Okay.
He thinks that the Suns are going to sell for a mind-blowing number. The I think it was Forbes or Sportico or one of those valued the Suns at $1.8 billion. He thinks that they're now. Sarver's only selling his share, which is 35%. So we won't get, he's not going to sell for this full amount, but it's just basically like you do the math, and this is what it would be valued at, what his shares are. And he thinks it's going to be $4.4 billion, which is more than double. And he's just thinking that, like, this is the first time in a really long time that you've got a major market coming up for sale, because the last one was like the Timberwolves, right, and like the Jazz and stuff, like smaller markets. Well, the Nets, I guess, was a bigger one, but to have, a big market, Phoenix, close to LA, he thinks it's going to sell for a ton. And then he was kind of talking about, people said Bob Iger, which he shot down because he said Bob Iger doesn't have enough money, not even close. And then I think he mentioned maybe something briefly about Bezos. He's just kind of talking about how there's going to just be a lot of suitors, because when Joe Lacob bought the Warriors, it kind of made him like this icon in the Bay Area, and people want to kind of, there's a lot of rich people, but some of these rich guys want to have this extra boost to their ego for like, hey, I'm the one that turned around this team and I got them winning and I'm this hero of this city kind of thing. So there will be a lot of suitors.
Yeah, I did hear that part of the podcast, or at least parts of it. There's a big part of that story missing from Simmons' opinion. Yeah, you can be like Joe Lacob. You can have the literal best possible case scenario work out. And, like, you can buy the team right as Silicon Valley is becoming this, epicenter of tech and culture. And everything can work out perfectly timeline-wise, and you can have a dynasty, and you can have top 10 player of all time and multiple other Hall of Famers and one of the great coaches. You can literally have everything work out. And then everybody loves you. Although I'm sure actually if you went to the Bay Area, there's plenty of people who don't like things that he does and make loud noises about it. But you could also work out like James Dolan, and you take the control of an important franchise, make decisions that people hate, and then you become mocked and a laughingstock. And people literally hold you responsible for lowering the quality of their lives because the sports team that you own that they cheer for, you are responsible for them sucking. So it can go a number of different ways. So I don't build in a ton of inflation into the price of a team because of the prestige. Because for as much prestige as you get, you also come under a microscope, and if things don't pan out damn near perfectly, you're going to be seeing your name in headlines and in articles and hear your name on sports radio, and people are going to be trashing you. And you're not going to be able to enjoy sports the way you did before you owned a team. So I think that the team sells for that much because there's not enough to go around.
And the TV deals coming up.
And sports markets forecast to be only growing.
Dude, what if you were Joe Tsai, who's like isn't he the Alibaba guy? Super mega billionaire, bought the Nets, got all these superstars, and then like right away, all the Irving drama, has to trade away Harden, Durant wants out. Like it could turn on you quick too.
I don't wish owning a professional sports team on my worst enemy.
Cuban seems to be having fun with it.
Yeah. Lord, give me the confidence of Mark Cuban shirtless in an ice bath with Kevin Hart.
And saying that Top Shot is like the next big thing.
Did he say that? Oh my God.
Remember that? We were fucking reading that article.
Oh, he said it a while ago. I thought you meant like he recently said that. Oh,
I mean, he stands by what he says and he's consistent with it, right? He doesn't just bail on stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, I just think about all the criticism that I've had for Mark Cuban just because, like, in my mind, somehow he's standing in the way of me seeing my favorite player win. So I would not want to be the person I would not want to be that person. And you know what? Why be that person? You don't need to own a sports team. Just buy a couple of really nice cards of your favorite team or your favorite players.
Well, I mean, there's also, for the Suns, like, they were the laughingstock of the NBA for, like, the last 12 years, seemingly just because of Sarver, a lot of people think. And now, still under Sarver, the Suns somehow became the number one seed in the West, and turned things around. Was that because he magically started becoming a better owner, or does it not make as much of a difference with the owner as we might like to think?
I don't think the owner is very influential. I mean, some people think like the owner's willingness to spend matters a lot, but for the Suns, like, here, what's the difference? In 2018-19, right before the bubble or whatever, when they like had that little 8-0 run, but they still didn't make it into the playoffs because they were really bad during the regular season. And then Chris Paul joins the team, and then they're in the finals.
Yeah, they had a couple nice drafts, and they signed Chris Paul, who, by the way, was not cheap, and Sarver had to pay up for that.
He did.
Didn't he have the worst contract in the NBA? Didn't someone say that? Chris Paul is the worst contract in the NBA? How'd that work out?
Let's go. Bring the spice out. All right.
But I bring up the spice, and it's, why are you being salty?
You don't want to go on the camera. Look, if you're going to be
working right now,
if you're going to be spicy, you have to say it to the people. You don't get to hide from the people.
How about I join the live and you go in the other room, since you're not even using your computer, and then I can sit here, everyone will look at me while I'm staring at the computer, and then I can stare at them when I want to get spicy.
Because it's a lot harder to turn you off then. It's easier right now. Okay. All right, do you want to say anything else about Robert Sarver and the Sun situation?
No, I also don't really want to touch this Ime Udoka story quite yet.
Yeah, I mean, all we have is a few Woj bombs, a few Shams bombs. Nothing even approximating a full picture of the story.
Nope. We're getting nuggets.
Blocked.
But he is suspended for the year, right?
Udoka, that's what the reporting has been. But
what's the scenario where he's suspended for a year and then comes back and everything's hunky dory? I can't picture that scenario.
I don't know. There's just too many questions. And like Matt Barnes made his video where he was like, I felt one way about it, then I heard more, and then I felt the other way about it. And there's just way too many unknowns here.
Why don't they just fire him? I don't get it. Like, if it's this egregious and they're going to suspend someone for a year, like, you don't think that the Pacers would have wanted to dump Ron Artest after that year's suspension? He was under contract. Like, they could just fire him.
It's a great question.
I don't know. Maybe it seems like it's really bad. And, like, Brad Stevens just seemed really, really distraught about it, just super upset about all of it.
Fair enough. I would be too if I was him.
That was his choice.
Yeah. Okay, so Card Shop Dad says, if you could see two cards from the 90s and the 2000s come to auction, what two cards would they be?
98 Gem Master Penny. And the Jordan of the same card.
Nice, okay. Great choices. I'm going to throw our Peyton Manning guys a bone and say the 98 Contenders Peyton Manning PSA 10. And
wow, that's a shocking answer.
Well, here's why. I'm sick of these is Peyton Manning undervalued questions. And,
you want the question answered?
And I want the question answered. And, like, look, this is his Contenders PSA 10 rookie card. This one has a really nice autograph, too, which doesn't happen too often on these. It sold for $71,000 in 2019.
Boom.
The card letter value today is $300,000. And so I think if this Peyton Manning came up and it sold for anywhere near the card letter value, that it would show people that Peyton Manning does have a lot of value in this hobby. It's just that he has few good cards and they don't show up often. And it would be a nice validation for all those guys who believe Peyton is not getting his due respect.
You need to drop this bomb on Instagram because you're obviously right. It's just the data's there. You know, we all want to complain about it, myself included. The Trevor Lawrence, I made a joke about it. But if he had a card comparable to one of these one-on-one shields, it would destroy the prices of all these guys.
I hope.
Manning's he's a wildly popular player.
Dude, I've struggled to find an error in his resume, man. 5 MVPs? Like, come on.
And he does have, like, that credentials out of 9 or 6 or whatever that sold that, didn't sell for, like, a ton. But, like, again, I just don't think any of those cards are comparable to a one-of-one Shield.
I tend to agree with that. Here, speaking of, like, those type of cards, like, here's an interesting one. Here's a card from the 2000s that I'd like to see sell. Here we go. All right. This card right here is the 2004 Ultimate Collection rookie jersey logo autographs Ben Roethlisberger.
What was the last sale of this one?
So this card, pretty epic card, although he looks a little weird, but epic card, sold for $67,000 in December of 2020.
Ooh.
Card ladder value tied to the Roethlisberger index puts it at about $97,000 today. I think that's probably conservative. So I'd love to see this card sell.
Yeah, but that one's still selling for less than a lot of these cards, and he's a 2-time champ. So, like, I feel like we'd all be right.
Yep.
If these cards market.
Agreed. But and what's nice about this one, like, I'm not saying that this would sell for a proper ratio to young, unproven guys, but I think this card is beautiful. And it's got the shield, and it's got a really nice crisp autograph, and it's gem mint, and it's got the beautiful one-of-one. Nice photo. Nice. You can tell that this is holofoil. So, like, the card is just going to pop. Like, I just think this is a sick card.
That would be equivalent to the fact that LeBron doesn't have an exquisite, like, logo man rookie, but he does have that horizontal ultimate, right?
Yep. Totally. So, there you go. Josh picked 2 basketball. I picked 2 football. Man, Jordan Gem Masters. I don't even. God.
I would want to see the Larry Fitzgerald version of that Roethlisberger card there. I'd love to see that one come up.
Hell yeah. Dude, if the Jordan Gem Masters came to auction, I think, like, all Michael Jordan 90s collectors would have to have a meetup in person. We'd light candles, hold hands, and just, like, watch that auction end, sweaty palms touching each other.
Well, because there was a point in time when that group of people, just every time one of these grails came up, you guys just all like, oh my God, can you guys, there's a green PMG at an actual auction. Oh my God. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And that hasn't happened. That feeling hasn't happened in years, and that Gem Master would do it.
Yes, it would.
It would bring back these nostalgic feelings of, like, a fucking card we just don't deserve to see at auction, but here it is. Let's just fucking watch this mayhem.
Right on.
It used to happen, like a PMG championship come up, you guys would lose your fucking minds. Now it's like, great, every other auction has one.
Yeah.
There's like 7 Jordan Exquisites that sold last night. Like, wow, so excited to see another 03 limited logos Jordan. Haven't seen one in 4 hours.
Dude, yeah, that didn't even get its, it's just not as special anymore because the 1010 Exquisite Jordan, it's the only one. It's the only 1010. Ever.
That one sold for $450,000 or whatever?
Yeah. I mean,
what a sick card.
Yeah. All right. South Bay Collector says, at what point, specifically, how many cards would you consider that you PC someone?
Good question. 10? 5? Not that many.
5?
How many Jokic cards did you have when you bought the black?
I might have more PCs than I know. Oh, fuck, that's a fair question.
You know what I mean?
How many do I have now? Shit. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. I maybe like 10 to 12 Jokic's.
But when you bought the black, I feel like you didn't have that many.
But we also have a ton of Jokic's from his rookie year that we opened, but we didn't buy. We didn't buy a single up.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, don't you need 100 to make a top 100 list?
True. 100 is the right number. At the 100 for sure. And then, like, dude, here what I consider PC for Michael Jordan: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. 12.
Yep. I think I have 12 Chris Paul cards.
Let's see, what's Luka? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15. So,
we're in that same sort of range. That's why I went low.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Like, you have a Lamar Jackson PC?
No, I only have one Lamar card. I love that card.
What's one that you have? Cooper Cup. How many cups do you have?
Only one.
Yeah, well, fuck me then.
Yep, I've got one Cup, one Lamar,
one Curry,
one Mahomes.
LeBron. You have like 5 LeBrons, right? 4 or something like that?
How many LeBrons I have? One Curry, that's right. One Curry. LeBron, 3 LeBrons.
So you don't have a LeBron PC?
No, 3 is a little shy. Listen, how many Le'Veons now? Le'Veons, it's probably about 14 or 15.
Boop, check.
Yep, Le'Veon comes in. Yeah, it has to be more than one. Although I suppose you could say, like, you have a collection of a player. Like, what if you had, like, Kareem?
Technically. Oh, here we go.
What if you had, like, Kareem's, like, PSA 10 rookie card?
Right.
Like,
what if you had, like, one mantle, but, like, it was, like, a pretty expensive mantle?
Literally the exact point I just made.
Yeah, but Kareem, like, it's like, mantle, it's like, mantle.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, hear me out. What about, like, a really expensive Bill Russell? Just one,
Oh
though.
my God, I fucking hate both of you.
Like a PSA 8, like fucking.
You know what?
Hey, that's a really good point, Josh.
Yeah, of course.
I like that point. It's a really good
I
point.
was like, chomp at the bit to do that joke.
All right.
Wait, hear me out. Like a Mikan, like just one real. But he only has one card, anyways.
Right. The 48 Bowman. Right. That card, by the way, sells for a lot of
money. Breaking news here on the crossover. Woo!
Breaking news. Dude, the PSA 10 Mikan last sold. It's a pop one. It last sold in 2015 for $400,000.
Holy fucking shit!
But
I don't even know if I've ever seen a highlight of George Mikan.
he was in, like, Prism 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
George
So,
Mikan staying relevant.
Yeah, with black and white photos, so you can collect his, like, modern cards with his black and white photos.
Oh, damn. Jeff says it's in the Smithsonian. Wow, that's fucking...
You know what makes me think what this topic, I just feel like South would be like, dude, George Mikan is basically like Austin Crozier of today.
Dude, he played against volunteer police officers.
He's basically Jeff Foster, just happened to play in the 40s and 50s.
Dude, what do you mean? Jeff Foster would back this dude all the way down and dunk on him?
just like fucking dunk on him. Roy Hibbert would have a field day with this. I don't know why I'm naming Pacers players, but...
Dude, shout out to all the Jeff Foster collectors out there who might be listening. All right.
Because he would back him down, take him all. Ralph Sampson would just own this guy. Greg Oden dominate him, just destroy him.
All right. 90s bebop.
But he says Omar Ashik.
Omar Ashik, there we go. A great Chicago Bull during the Derrick Rose era. 90s bebop card says, if you couldn't collect your current players, who would you choose to be the player for your new PC?
Oh. Just one?
Yeah, you can go with more than one.
Oh. Woo. Damn. Oh, shit. Wow. You're really blessing me with some great honors.
Look, if the question didn't allow it, I would say no, but the question makes the allowance for multiple players.
I'm struggling. I feel like I collect everybody I want. I mean, MJ, I guess.
MJ, yeah.
He was pretty good.
I've already worn this content out to death, but Hakeem would be a guy that I would collect.
Why don't you collect him again? I can't remember.
I mean, my money tree. I forgot to water my money tree.
Have you seen Better Call Saul yet?
No.
He has a deal, like a scam that he's going to run. He's going to help this guy get money, and the guy says no, and he's like, I have a question for you. Do you shit gold? And the guy's like, what? He's like, it's a very simple question. Do you shit gold? And he's like, no. He's like, okay, then you need to take this deal because unless you've got gold coming out of your bowels, then...
Nice. Yeah, that's where I'm at with this. Not shitting gold. So no Hakeem, new PC.
Because you just want those. I mean, if you would have bought that platinum medallion purple one, you would have been screwed.
Well, didn't this sell?
Yeah, it sold for like $7,000 or something, right?
It sold for here it is. Sold for 15. I was looking at it. I was fantasizing about it.
$15,000?
15.
Yeah, because once you're $15,000 deep, you're in deep.
It is a freaking awesome card.
I think you should have bought that.
Yeah, but here's the problem, man. I have a hard time stopping at one.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I said you're screwed. That's what I mean.
Yeah. I got the idea that I was going to put together all the 2018 Prism Gold Lebrons. Damn. You just start getting ideas,
Hi, my name is Chris, and I have a problem.
Yeah, all right. Cardboard Brownie. Oh, good. Please discuss the LeBron Superfractor sale.
The one that looks like it's been hacked off in the top left?
Oh, I didn't even look that closely at it.
It's just, I mean, it's awesome. I just don't understand why they die cut that one little area in the top left.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's a cool card. I mean, that 07 Finest is one of my favorite designs. I thought about it, but the die cut really bothers me.
Why can't I find this? This sold on Thursday night, didn't it?
Yeah, on alt.
Oh, that's why. Okay, let me see if I can pull that up.
I think it sold for like 50-something grand, something like that, maybe more.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I think it went for 67.
Oh, okay.
Oh man! All right, I'm not gonna fumble through navigating that site live. So, what do you think about that? Finest 07 Super PSA 7, I believe.
Yeah, I don't care about the grade. It's just like it's a really weird die cut, dude. Like the top left is just like a tiny little sliver cut off. It literally looks like a lawnmower just kind of ran it over.
All right. Well, we discussed it.
Cool card.
Cool card.
It's got the Superfractor design to it, the gold vinyl.
Okay. Flippin' Hoops says, why do you guys think Bowman Chrome doesn't get the same love as Topps Chrome in basketball? They both have the same print run, but Bowman Chrome is just a fraction of the price.
I would just say like the lineage and the history of it.
Mm-hmm.
Topps Chrome started in '96 with Kobe and that humongous rookie class, and it's just sort of carried on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sounds good to me. Like, do you have any Bowman Chrome LeBrons?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have 4 PSA 10 golds. Bowman.
Damn. Okay.
I mean, I like them. I like them a slight notch below Finest and Chrome. That's mostly just like aesthetically.
Okay.
Like the 04 Bowman is one of my favorite designs of any card. So I kind of put them all on an equal playing field just in terms of, my desire to get them. It's just a matter of like individually how do they look and how do they lineup historically.
Yeah, I do think it is about that simple. And but I don't. The question asks why, but really, what I really think the question is asking is, can Bowman Chrome be worth as much as Topps Chrome? Why isn't it? Like, what would it take for that to happen?
Well, isn't the more interesting question, why is Bowman more popular in baseball, but Topps is more popular in basketball? Topps Chrome.
It's a fair question.
Like, why? If we're going to say Topps Chrome's better because of X, Y, Z, then why is that true for baseball?
Mm-hmm. Well, baseball has sort of made Bowman Chrome the go-to for the first appearance rookie autograph.
Which are far more valuable than the first appearance Topps Chrome.
Yes. And they come out much earlier. Like the Bowman Chrome comes out years before the Topps Chrome.
Mm.
God, I feel so uncomfortable discussing this stuff because I'm like, I think that's right. And I just...
And you're right. It might just kind of be an outlier because Bowman happens to be, the representative of the prospecting version of baseball, which is more popular. And then in basketball, it's more about, Topps Chrome.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know if or what impact the Bowman Chrome Superfractor autograph Mike Trout sale played in conveying prestige upon that brand, but yeah, I think one monster sale of a highly coveted card from a brand can really put that brand on the map.
Yeah. Which do you like better?
Topps Chrome or Bowman Chrome? For basketball?
Yeah.
Topps Chrome, for sure.
Because of aesthetics?
Yeah, I don't know. Aesthetics gets really subjective. I just think it's regarded consensus as the better brand, more prestigious brand, the more historically important brand. And we need hierarchies. We need there to be a best brand because manufacturers could make 200 brands and one of them could look amazing, but it has no history or it wasn't configured properly. We need hierarchies. We need structures. We need tiers. And we need them to be logical and rational, but more importantly, we just need them. And I don't want to, like, small rant here, I don't want to be the guy who wants to break the history and the tradition. I think the history and the tradition are good. I think consistency is good. I think it's good that we have clear-cut top brands. And if we fiddle with it too much, and we say, well, shouldn't Flawless be more than National Treasures, and shouldn't Bowman Chrome be more than Topps Chrome, and shouldn't Select be more than Prism, and we keep fiddling with the logic and the structure of the history and the tradition of the product tiers, and all of a sudden nothing means anything anymore. And we've totally deconstructed the history and the tradition of our hobby, and now it's just a free-for-all. It's just an absolute free-for-all, and nothing, and the level of predictability and certainty that comes along with consistency over time is gone. It's gone. And then you can have a real worst-case scenario where nobody knows anything, and no brand is better than the other brand. And instead of everything going up in value, it all fucking plummets.
Great rant. I think the history and tradition is so important to everything in the hobby, the values of cards, the desirability, the collectability, everything. And people always underestimate it, especially new people who come in. They just think, oh, I just got to buy the most expensive Trevor Lawrence card, but they're not taking into consideration why it's the National Treasures, why it's the Shield, why it's the Logo Man, whatever it is.
Right.
And that stuff really matters to we're talking about this Manning thing. Why isn't Manning's cards sell for more? Because of the history and tradition of the fact that he doesn't have a card that lines up with our tiers and our hierarchy. It's simple as that. The hobby and the rules and the structure of it outweigh the fact that Peyton Manning should be worth more. It just overrules it.
I like how one rant begets another. I like that. That's a good rant.
So hear me out. What if you had one just mega card of, you could honestly just pick anybody.
One mega card of anybody?
Jalen Green. Do you collect Jalen Green?
No, but I like him a lot.
Dude, I'm going to be Scrooge McFucking Duck on these prospects. I'm going to keep going on this lane, and it's my lane.
Dude, the lane is resonating. It's good, man. Keep that lane going. It drives conversation, and it does figure out, it tests hypotheses.
Scrooge McFuck, that's what you can call me.
All right. Vinny Slabarino, I'm going to compress this one for time. How do you handle mail that require a signature? Do you go online and forego the signature requirement? Or do you just not leave the house and look out the window every 15 minutes until the mailman shows up?
That one.
Yo, okay. So
I also like to route. Sometimes I'll have it routed to like a Walgreens or like a. Have you ever done that?
No, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, on FedEx you can route it to like in my state you can route it to one of our grocery stores or like a Walgreens, and then they'll hold it for you there. Because sometimes like I won't be home that day and I know I won't be there for the signature, so I'll route it and then I'll go pick it up on my way home.
Yeah, that's smart. Okay, I know that if a delivery fails, the carrier takes it back to an office, and then you can go get it from the office too.
Yeah, that's a no-go because our FedEx office is super far.
I remember when we lived in LA, we had to like go try and track it down, and they didn't even have it.
Yeah, it can be annoying. You can also direct. I think most carriers just hold the package at the office. Just don't deliver it. Hold it at the office, and you go pick it up. So there are plenty of options there. But if you sign up for so Sal says if you sign up for UPS, it allows you to track the truck, so you can see what stop and when it will be delivered. I have hunted down a USPS truck, not UPS, but a USPS truck mid-route because they left the piece of paper, even though I was home, and I went out and I took the piece of paper and I called and I said, they just left this here. And they said, well, the truck is between this street and that street. And I got in the car and I tracked down the truck and I got the driver popped out. I showed him my ID and he gave me the package.
I pictured that USPS truck just kind of humming along and you like peel in front of him and like stop in front of them and force them to stop and like, you know, at like an angle, you know, like a 45, like,
yeah,
get out, motherfucker. And he's like, what?
Carbohydrates says, bro, I call in sick on mail days. Well done.
Bro, that's a way to do it.
South Bay Collector says, let's say you've got a collection worth $100,000. Would you rather have $25,000 cards or $100,000 cards?
Fewer, whichever answer is fewer cards, more money.
Good. Let's see. What do we want to go to next here? We had so many like PC related questions. What do you think it means, Josh, that we get recurring questions? Like here's a question from K Dizzle. All right. If we went with pure aesthetics and not price points, do you think we would value cards and sets and parallels differently than we do today? What do you think it means that this question surfaces over and over again? Is it new people, or I know K Dizzle is not new at all. So is it just like K Dizzle had an epiphany, or like, because I'm gonna be honest, you know, sometimes giving the same answer to the same question is just I don't always have the energy to give it my best shot.
You want to know my Scrooge McFuck theory?
Let's go.
I can't speak for this specific one, so no offense to this question asker, but I feel like a lot of times it's that they don't necessarily want to hear our answer. They just want to have it asked so that we can talk about that topic and potentially bring more awareness to said investment strategy.
Yeah. Well, for sure. And there's always something that should be rewarded, which is outside of the box thinking, creative thinking. Hey, why can't this be better than that?
Yeah.
This has a lot of this. But let's just go back to that little rant. Okay, just rewind this episode a few minutes, play those two rants again about, hey, let's not mess with it too much. Okay, if, you know, maybe Flawless seems a little undervalued or this or that. Okay, but let's not, reorder the hobby hierarchy under a theory of undervalued, overvalued. because
Has it ever worked? Has it ever worked? Like literally.
I think I don't know.
Have we ever had like an influencer or some sort of group of influencers come in and literally like make something more valuable than another group just because of that hype?
It's a good question.
I think soccer maybe. Kaboom.
Those are good examples. Soccer had something natural, though. Like fans of soccer wanted cards for that sport, and they got it, and they've stuck with it, which is
Kaboom.
Good. Kaboom. I don't know. Kaboom doesn't.
F1.
F1 though seems to be holding up okay. Obviously, it's taken a step back, like a lot of stuff has. So.
Remember, Select was a pretty big push. That one didn't work out.
Oof. That's one of the actual like opposites. The Select.
It hurt their market.
Yeah, the Select market actually has never been the same since that started trying to get hyped up.
It kind of feels that way. Select has been fairly cheap in my observations.
Two brands have taken big hits, I think, due to the saturation of Octochrome cards. One is Select, the other is Mosaic. I think both of those brands have taken hits because of that. So, all right. It's just so with only a few minutes left of the show, it's just hard to see.
I'm just thinking of captions.
Well, we've got a few that came up early. So one was just I struggle as a caption. The other one was we all got duped. Or we all got dupes. Maybe we could do S. We all got dupes. What do you think?
We'll keep thinking.
All right, we can keep thinking. No offense to those suggestions. Garrett NBA. Well, here, let's go with this. Let's make Scrooge answer this question.
Scrooge what?
Scrooge McMoney Trucks.
McMoney bags. I think the caption is like Bud or Pal.
Bud?
Buddy.
Like three. Okay, I know how I can do that. All right. Fit3 the Joker says, who are the NBA players that are thriving in this bearish market?
Oh, my God. Jalen Green.
True.
Jake Cunningham.
True.
NBA players are thriving in this market. I'm trying to think of anyone. I'm looking back on like their indexes and stuff. I mean, honestly, I just named the top two probably.
Thriving is a strong word. Thriving is a really strong word.
Edwards, maybe?
I think that's fair.
Thriving in this market means that you're not going down. Like, Edwards is pretty flat.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have any pop in your head?
It's
we should have looked at Mitchell cards after the trade. We should have looked at Donovan Mitchell cards after the trade. Can you pull up his?
Yeah, I can. The tricky thing about Mitchell is, like, I think not. Well, let's just see.
Down.
So this is highly zoomed out on Donovan Mitchell, but it's definitely going down. Let's see if we zoom into 3 months. Here's his. Yeah, I mean that's down 24%.
Yikes. Well, never mind.
So, but one of the things that these indexes are suffering from right now is that the hobby market has moved much more in the direction of being winner take all, and the momentum continues to leave the silvers and the base and stuff that's just highly trackable. Stuff that qualifies for a card letter index, basically, is the stuff that's taken the biggest beating. And it's the outliers that are driving most of the hobby success stories over the last year. It's the cards like the Clemente PSA 9, which you pointed out on your auction recap, and which will not qualify for any card ladder index. But that card sold at the peak of cards like that, which was March of 2021, for like 1.15 million, and then it sold last night for 1.07 million. And like that's a card that will not show up in any indexes, but for methodological reasons. But if it were to, it would show a pretty much a straight line connecting March of 2021 to today. And that's very counterintuitive because most cards are down from that, but the outliers are not. And so even with Mitchell, like I hesitate to read too much into that index because it's only telling the higher transaction volume part of the story. Yeah.
Well, I asked you to make a Trey Lance index so I could cackle, but then I pulled it up and it was like down like 1 billion%, and I'm like, well, dang, I don't think it's down that much. And I looked and the Prism, silvers, and base are just completely
yeah. I was looking at it.
But his National Treasures cards still sell for a lot, so that wouldn't necessarily tell the same story.
Yep, exactly right. You're like, wow, dude.
Pull up his index, dude, for fun. It's like we started at 1,000. It's at like 40. It's like so far down.
Dude, its current value is 16.
Yeah, it went from 1,000 to 16. Like it's just beat to hell.
Down 97% over the last year. And that's not just Trey Lance, suffering that injury and disappointed expectations. It's also the fact that like these cards are all at their maximum saturation point. All the product's been broken. They flooded the markets. Supply has completely overwhelmed demand. Plus, there's macro downward market pressure, especially on cards like that. So it's really compound.
Plus, his release date lines up with peak market.
Exactly. Bingo.
Yeah. His like Prism, the cards that are in there were like released during the peak.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I don't know, man. I struggle to name NBA players who are thriving in this market, and like I don't want to go out of my way to think about that. Like, it just doesn't seem to resonate with the spirit of the hobby right now. So it's almost like picking a fight. If you go to the hobby and say, well, actually, this one's doing well, this one's doing well, and that's the appetite is not there for that at all.
Yeah, there's not a lot of that going on. You're right.
Yeah. So, I mean, and it's tough to point to situations where you could say that that's going on. All right. A lot of these questions are just like very collector-y. I don't know. We've got like a vibe going tonight. There's just a different vibe going, and I don't know if these questions match it.
What's that vibe?
What is the vibe tonight? What's the hobby vibe this week, if you were to describe it?
I don't know. You said it, not me.
I just think it's not like a serious moment right now. I think we're all enjoying football. I think those who are keeping eyes on financial markets are rightfully concerned. Dude, the chair of the Federal Reserve came out and said they're going to tank the housing market.
On purpose.
Not in as many words, but yeah.
Yeah, totally. They're like, yeah, remember when we said the interest rates were going here? We lied. It's going way higher.
Yeah, they're going to continue raising through next year. they're not going to stop until inflation gets to the target of 2%. And even though the Fed's dual mandate is low inflation and high employment, they're actually like struggling right now with the fact that there's lots of high employment and there's actually job vacancies. And like that's actually seemingly making it more difficult to control inflation.
And housing is so high. That's why he's like, we got to be more aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, the words that they've used with respect to housing early in the summer was the housing market will reset. And then most recently that there will be a correction in housing prices. So I don't really have a precedent for when a figure like Powell has come out and said, we're going to tank a market. And
so you're saying that the vibe is that we are going to have to sort of become the escape from some of this like really horrible news and outside the hobby, and we need to be more upbeat and fun?
I don't think we need to be that. I think we need to just be in the moment of what the hobby's going through. But I do think the hobby as an escape is a more natural fit than the hobby as the land of Warren Buffett's and Charlie Munger's or something.
Yeah, we're back to like reality.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's where the hobby's going to thrive, in my opinion, is when it's in its proper place in people's lives.
Yeah, but do baseball games go backwards? I'm not sure. You can go from the sixth inning.
We crank the innings back?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good so that's just the vibe of the hobby right now to me, is it's unserious. And also, like, we have to, like, be kind and thoughtful and patient with people who are getting slaughtered in crypto and NFTs and stocks. Because, like, and especially people who are getting slaughtered in stocks, because, like, stocks are not supposed to be this volatile at the top line level. So that's what I think about, too, is just like, dude, the S&P 500 is down 23% year to date. Like, nobody signed up for that. Nobody, is expecting to invest in something like the S&P 500 and just lose their fucking shirts. So when people come online and they fucking bash my cards or my players, like, I don't care. Like, I have to have empathy and compassion because people are here struggling.
People have been bashing my girly stuff, I'll be honest. So
that's kind of what I was thinking about, was like, people are hurt and like they're lashing out. And then there's also like the pandemic dimension to this too, which is like, dude, the pandemic was a stressful time, and like it's where people are still learning how to ease out of it. So I just try to keep that stuff in mind right now, and just like, let's not be too serious about the hobby, but have fun.
Well, here's a piece of life advice. There's always going to be something that you could find that could bring you down. Like, there's always something, dude. There's a war. There's 9/11. There's Afghanistan. There's the pandemic. There's the recession. I feel like every time I listen to politics, it's always something negative. And that's always been kind of the nice part about the hobby. It is a little bit of a fun hobby escape that we all have somehow made it, more dramatic than it needs to be a lot of times.
Yep. Very true. But yeah, I mean, yeah, God, fucking news radio, and oh my God.
Dude, you'd think the world is ending every day. My God.
Yeah. Yep. And then, like, after years of sort of bullish, unabashed, unrestrained optimism, not to trot out the old pendulum cliche, but, like, it does feel like there's a swing in the collective consciousness towards restraint and calmness and taking a break from the hyper activity that the pandemic ushered in.
We got some critical people in this chat today. This is great.
Yeah.
Why does your camera fucking suck, you idiot? Just say it. Why is your girly card so stupid? What are you, 4?
Because think about it, man. Why would anybody bash Todd Gurley collecting? Just
dude, I've been getting way more shit on that than anything else I've ever gotten on cards.
what? Give me a sample of this shit.
Like, he's retired, right? He's not coming back. You know that, right? Why would you be? I don't understand why you're looking at this. What are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain this to me? What am I missing?
And what do you say?
I just ignore him.
Yeah. Dude, when I made my little video about my first little, shoebox show-off video, it had McCaffrey. And some of the comments on there were hilariously, the troll quality was really high. And it impressed me. Let me see if I can find one.
It impressed you?
Okay, here we go. All right, so here's one of the comments from Break Kings. Oh boy. So this is a video. All right. It's me just showing my stupid McCaffrey. Break Kings goes, oh boy, that's a lot of running back stock of non-named RBs such as Jim Brown, Walter Payton, Emmitt Smith, Barry Sanders, Eric Dickerson, Adrian Peterson, and LaDainian Tomlinson. You crazy. But I might take him in fantasy depending upon how much he drops. All right. Thank you, sir. Another guy. Let's see.
Basically, you're a moron.
Yes, basically, you are crazy. This guy, Bullard, 7853, says he is definitely your PC. Thank you.
Is this supposed to be witty? Because I'm missing the wit.
Well, just calm down. Did you?
What does that mean?
Did you miss?
He's definitely your PC.
He's definitely. I mean, I don't know. That could be. Okay, look, this is a good one. This is.
Oh, Christina, you promised me hilarious comments.
Yeah, seriously, right?
Can you just stop?
Okay, now he's gonna show fucking Lamine James. Duh, Lamine is gonna give you a fucking witty comment.
Can you just stop? All right, Lamine, 14 likes. All right, so this is a big hit. Coming soon to a value box near you.
Doesn't that guy collect Trey Young?
Okay, look, that's good. That's good. Okay, here we go. Here we go. This one had 4 likes. From Lindsay Collector. Hurt in 3 games. Well, guess what, bud? It's been 2, and he's only been on the injury report 5 times. VA Beach Cards with a very thoughtful comment. Sorry he's been hurt half his career, Chris. At least he's not in China like my PC TJ Leaf.
It's almost like people feel bad for you, and some people are willing to speak up on their sorrow for your choices, and some people just want to pretend like it's not real. Wow, you're so amazing, great PC.
Look at this guy. Nice, fire. But I hope you're into those cards for a good price.
Yeah, I guess we've been getting pretty similar takes.
Let me see here. I mean, there were
Point out in the chat, though, someone in the chat says that I deserve it for all my shitting on prospects. Probably fair.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I don't deserve mine either.
You can dish it, but you can't take it.
Yeah, each of these people probably has a grievance of some sort, but or maybe they don't. Damn, I remember some more zingers than just this. Oh well. All right, so oh look, this one had 11 likes. Yeah, bro, but do you have any one of ones? No. Oh, man.
Yeah, you really got some heat there, Chris.
Yeah, man. People really hate you.
Do you want to appear on camera? Okay. That's my trump card against you. Let's see some hate on your Maxi Kleber PC.
I get a lot of hate.
You've been getting a lot of hate in this chat tonight. People have been zinging her with Maxi Kleber troll jokes all night.
Yeah, people, this is new to you two, but like I've been getting this for the past 2 years. So welcome to the club, motherfuckers.
Oh, okay. Christina's teaching us now.
I hate you.
Dude, this one guy, Chris, Publius13, great hobbyist. I'm just like up late at night the other night looking at Instagram stories, and he just randomly has one of Jaylen Brown dunking on Maxi Kleber.
Yeah.
And he says, this is for all the Maxi Kleber collectors out there, or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like, wow.
Yeah.
Just a random shot fired in the middle of the night for no apparent reason.
And then he usually sends it to me.
He's great, though. I like that guy a lot. All right. Welcome to the hobby. That's going to do it.
What's the caption?
The caption
Bud?
is, how much for the ball, bud?
How much for the ball, bud? Yep, that's the one. Gotta do a comma before bud, though, right?
Yes, there will be a comma. Now, this is a little more complicated because there's 2 videos. So the first one saved and the second one saved. So we all got, how much for the ball, bud, for the first one? For the second one. Sorry, for the second one. No, or should it be
the
for
first
the
one.
first one? The first one, okay.
First one.
And then we need a name for the second one.
Jeez, I wasn't prepared for 2 fucking banger captions, but you're putting me on the spot.
Well, risk is what happens after you've thought of everything.
Or when you have a stupid app that crashes or whatever.
Yes. All right, so we do need a title for the second one. Yeah, you thought we were done? It was going to be easy? Curveball.
I don't know. I'm tired.
Yeah, all right. I'll take it.
I have to get up at 7. I'm tired.
All right, well, let's call it. Everybody have a great night. See you next week from a different city.
A lot has changed since Card Ladder began. We started with 500 cards in our database, and now we have over 3 million cards and over 30 million sales.
For anyone asking who is the best, we putting our hands up.
With Card Ladder's sales history feature, we have virtually every card in our system. If the card you are looking for ever sold on one of these platforms, you can find it using Card Ladder's sales history, and you can add a card to your collection with just one click.
My time, none of you people can tell me to stop.
Plus, every card, no matter the last time it sold, has an estimated value that we calculated using our state-of-the-art player indexes. Unlike other apps, when you see Card Ladder's verified checkmark, that means a researcher personally vetted each and every sale.
We know what it takes to be reaching the top.
We know what you want, because Card Ladder was created by collectors for collectors.
Know what it takes to be reaching the top.
Join the innovators, not the imitators. Card Ladder 2.0, constantly innovating. Try it for free. See why Card Ladder is the industry leader in sports card data.
We know what it takes to be reaching the top.
Card Ladder 2.0.